to the live stream. This is going to be actually the final closeout stream of our fundraiser with UAO. This fundraiser, you know that every couple of months, right, we're raising funds for a new unit, but this is the last one for the units that we partnered with in Ukraine. So to commemorate that, let me pop out the chat here so we can keep things. I can see what's going on, right? So what we are going to be doing is cracking out a gift that I got from the guys at Atay, right? Now, Atay, guys, this is the recon team. This is I think a 4 to 6 man recon element. These are guys that, we dropped the tour of their house. We dropped the first 2 interviews with their guys. And they reached out and they're like, actually, we looked over the files and we know we said we were cool to drop them, but actually we just want another chance. And I haven't heard from them. I can't imagine what they're busy doing, right? But, that doesn't mean that they don't need stuff, right? And their stories were absolutely crazy. They're really badass dudes. So anyway, they sent me this whiskey that they had made for their team. You can see the symbol of independent Ukraine. This is their actual team patch is badass. You can follow them on Instagram. I might try to drop their Instagram in the chat or in the description. Let me see if I can follow. Let me see if I can find them here. I have, because I do follow the team on Instagram. They have some really, really great. They have a lot of photos. Or they have some photographer that just goes really hard. So yeah, I'll send you. Let's see if we can drop there. Let's see. I just want to copy the link. There we go. We're gonna drop it in chat here so you can follow them on Instagram, right? Because they are just like bad dudes, right? There is the Atay guys, right? And then there's also an Atay Foundation that raises money directly for them. But you can get to that link through them. But again, the nice thing is that all the units that we worked with, that we talked to, right? Some of them we still haven't gotten permission to like drop their interviews. Some of them we recorded these great interviews, and then I went back through it and I was like, this audio, like there was one where someone was playing like the movie Harry Potter in the background, and so it meant that the audio picked up Harry Potter music the entire interview, which if you don't know Disney is militant. They won't let you use a second, not a smidge of their intellectual property in a video. So ironically, it means that the video can't go live. So if you want to help these guys out, right, all these units, known and unknown, go over to DonorBox. And so what right, the link again is in the description. It's in the chat. You can't miss it. People are like, can you turn the volume up? I think the volume should be pretty good. Is it really quiet, or is that just is that just one guy? People are like, don't mess with the mouse. Okay. So we are going to take this out here. Oh yeah, I had to stuff it full of rags so it didn't rattle around. Okay, here we go. Look at this. This just looks badass, dude. Right? Let's see if we can get this here. Focus in. Yeah, there we go. Right? The team. Right? I don't know what this says, but man, this is badass. These guys go hard, dude. And I don't mean that just because they go hard because they have all this badass stuff. They also are just hard dudes. But here's the deal. You make a donation, I take a drink. We're not doing shots, all right? The 38. Warner Brothers owns the right to Harry Potter. Sorry, you're right. Okay. So again, we're going to take a look right now. Let's see. Let's just get this up here real quick. Okay, so right now in this moment, right, we are at 118,909. My dream would be to get to, the 150K, but if we can get to 120, I'll be a happy camper. So you donate, I take a drink, right? And as you guys have questions, drop them into the chat, right? It looks like we have just 220 concurrent viewers, which is awesome. That means things can be really chill, right? So we're going to crack this open. I'm going to let you know how it is, and we're going to talk it out, right? So, man. Interesting. All right. Okay. Yeah, smells pretty good. Smells pretty good. No hate. No hate at all. That's cool. It's very light in color, which I actually think is pretty badass because a lot of times the darkened color that whiskeys will get is actually added food coloring. Only really high-end whiskeys, like really long-aged whiskeys, will get imbued with a color. So I actually sometimes look at lighter colored whiskeys and go, oh, that's actually a sign of quality. Okay. So again, we'll see. Also, if you have a question or just a message you want read, right, you can put it, if you make a donation, drop it in the like public comment section, the wall, and I'll try to answer it, right? So, and again, any questions you guys have about, take your pick. I mean, anything. This is. I mean, obviously, the thumbnail is like it's about the Ukraine trip. Since I can discuss a lot more about it now, Mystic Cauldron, thank you for the $4.99. Again, I appreciate it. Those donations, though, those like super chats, go to support me, right? The channel, which is fine. Like I also can only do this because of your support, and I appreciate it. But again, the donor box is the link to support the units. But if you have a question, again, you could super chat it, and I'll answer it just like any other one of the live streams. Okay. So, looks like, all right. So is Ukraine having a manpower problem? I think even the Ukrainians are like, yeah, for sure. It's not a secret. And I think the manpower problem is not as bad as they make it out to be, right? I think their bigger problem is sort of how do we establish some kind of rotation, and how do we continue to like bring manpower in a way that doesn't thrust the experienced soldiers constantly into the heat and the worst parts of the front line. And I'm not sure what the answer is. But yes, the short answer is yeah, they do. I'm very curious. The real thing I'm curious about is Russia's manpower problem because they have different sets of constraints, right? Russia's unwilling to do a draft. They're unwilling to do a full mobilization. So, and I think that sort of like political constraint is in some ways more, what's the word I want? Like it's more dynamic, right? It's a little bit like the North Vietnamese. In a way, during the Vietnam War, in a way, the North Vietnamese had a simpler problem to solve because they were fighting an existential fight on their home country. And so they were like, well, I just need human beings, right? I need men and to fight, right? Whereas Russia goes, well, I need men to fight, but we can't draft them and we can't mobilize them. We got to get volunteers, but there's not a lot of volunteers and the casualty rates are high. We got to pay them a lot. We got to find them. How can we recruit them? So it's again, I don't think it's quite a one. They're both have manpower problems. They both have different constraints, right? The Ukrainian legislature, for example, refuses to lower the draft age to recruit 18-year-olds, something that is, something that they've been reluctant to do for demographic reasons, but it's tough. If the alternative is losing your state, then it doesn't matter. Does that make sense? So again, I still can't drink because I'm still waiting for one of you guys to throw up a donation. And again, I'll read the message. It could be as little as $1. All right. All right. I've seen multiple questions now about these tariffs, and I know that's like the hot new item in the news. And here's what I'm going to say. This is something we have known for about 100-ish years, is that tariffs are generally a poor proxy for taxation, right? Now, they exist at times. They can be used, and they have been used in the international trade for two main reasons. One is protectionism, and two is to avoid dumping, right? And what those two things do One, dumping is when China was famous for doing this, where China would sit there in the early 90s, right? They would produce steel and then they would have their government subsidize it so that the steel could be sold for cheaper than it cost to make. And then it was sold in the United States. And the idea was that they would put U.S. steel companies out of business and that they would instead then make Chinese steel the only steel available in the market because everyone else has been put out of business, right? You also see this done with agricultural products, right? So, for example, in Europe, right, they give subsidies to farmers to make milk or butter. And so the result is they produce a lot more butter than would otherwise make sense. But if they sold it, they would sell it for far less than it cost to make. And the problem is Europe can't sell it abroad. Why? Because they subsidize it. Because other countries say, listen, you can't take this butter that you can sell for less than it costs to make and sell it in our country. We have farmers. We have cows. And they're going to be pissed. The cows won't care, but the farmers will care. They're going to be like, no, dude, I'm not going to let cheap European butter flood my market and price me out. And so countries will say, no, we are doing tariffs to stop this dumping because the tariff is undoing your government's subsidy. And again, that's something that is not unhinged. For example, I would actually be open to saying, hey, China is going to be tariffed on industries that we believe they've grown using stolen U.S. technology. If you have violated U.S. copyright law to steal that technology and then are selling it back because you don't have to recoup R&D costs, in effect, you've engaged in a state subsidy. And so we're going to sit there and target every one of those industries: shipbuilding, aircraft, chip manufacturing, high-level electronics, all of these things that they know have sophisticated U.S. technology that was stolen by China. We say we're going to tariff that because you can't steal our shit and sell it back to us, right? But tariffs only really work when they're undoing another subsidy, right? What so what you can't tariff is people who are just, the other reason to tariff is protectionism. And that is when you have domestic industries specifically that you want to protect. And the classic argument is national security ones, where you say, listen, in the United States, chip manufacturing, classic example. We say, listen, the future is going to be determined by your ability to make these semiconductors, particularly powering things like AI. And so we say, listen, it's so strategically important that even though it's going to be more expensive to make here in the United States, we need to make it here. We can't outsource it to someone like China who could, in the event of a conflict, cut us off. And so those industries will get protected, right? But again, it's recognized that those tariffs are going to raise prices, right? Either one of two things will happen. The tariffs will raise the price of the imported good, but really what they want to happen is that they become more expensive, right? Those chips made in the U.S. by U.S. engineers are going to cost more because think about it, right? A U.S. engineer is going to cost a lot more than an engineer in, say, China or India. And so if you need those guys to build your chips, it's going to cost more because the labor is more expensive, right? And in a country with fewer safety regulations, right? There's no OSHA in China, right? You either have living employees who don't need safety measures because they're alive, or you have dead employees who don't complain about a lack of safety measures. And so, right, like those chips are going to be more expensive, but the U.S. says it's fine. We are willing to accept that. The problem with broad tariffs that hit everybody, one, it's not clear what industry you're protecting. Two, what you get is these broad across-the-board raises in price as either the imports get more expensive or you have to start building things domestically, right? So, again, you're like, oh, man, this is pretty good. Okay, this is pretty good. You guys got to donate because this is good. Or do we have? Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah. We got a bunch. Yeah, 119, baby. Good. But nobody on the wall. That's okay. That's okay. I respect your privacy, and I get to drink. This is actually really good. Shout out to these guys. What about undead employees? Dude, if China can raise an army of the undead, we're all in trouble. Official Ken says, I just want cheaper gas and to find eggs. Guys, I have hacked that system because I have chickens. They keep making eggs. So that's my hack. What I should do is make the chickens really pull their weight and sell the eggs on Facebook Marketplace. Sorry, so that doesn't answer what I think about tariffs. The economist in me is like, listen, tariffs are bad. Tariffs are bad. Even subsidies are bad, right? Or even subsidies are the default should be no subsidies, no tariffs, free trade, right? Free market, free trade, right? That's America, and that's that's a core part of the secret sauce that made America the economic powerhouse that it is, right? Occasionally, again, I respect the fact that sometimes you gotta protect your key industries, and you can't let other companies play stupid games with their subsidies and think they're going to undercut your domestic market, right? But if they're playing honestly, and that's the thing, it seems like Canada plays honestly and Mexico plays honestly, right? I've not heard any evidence that they are dishonest in their trade, right? Using subsidies or stolen technology or something like that. And that I think is the reason. I understand the like New York asshole negotiating move with Mexico. I get it. Like, I spent 7 years in the Department of Homeland Security. I did all border security work. It is a tough. It is tough to negotiate with Mexico. But it's mostly because the Mexican government has only like limited control over the border regions, right? The cartels are so powerful that the actual day-to-day governance of places like Juarez or Tijuana are contested, right? So you've got a government, a central government that's weak at baseline, right? You have cartels that have a lot of influence that are doing this trafficking, and so we say the Mexican government's like, dude, we'd rather not have this happen. Like, it's very expensive for us to have these migrants cross through our territory, expensive and dangerous. And so generally the U.S. has said, listen, we want to help you. We don't want to stick it to you. We don't think you could do more, but you're not, right? So again, Canada, skeptical. Mexico, skeptical. China, I'm open to arguments, but you can't just treat it like cutting the grass where you just cut everything. You've got to be tactical with tariffs. Okay. All right, let's see. Let's find one that is less salty. And do we have more donos? No. Well, I respect it. I feel like there's a refresh rate. So we're at 119, which is actually kind of badass because, my short-term goal is 120, and we're really close, guys. But I'd love to see us get to 150. That would be badass. You have no idea how huge our ability to raise funds for these guys is. And when I was there, and feel free to ask me questions about Ukraine. That's really what I'm here for. But I'll talk about anything. When I was there, right, these units, brigades are almost entirely like independent combat units. They're assigned to a place by the central like command, and they're given like essentials, right? They're given like 155 shells for their artillery. They're given like ammunition, but that's like it. So like we raised a bunch of this fundraiser actually raised a bunch of trucks for the 54th. And those guys were like, dude, this is the difference between medevacing and taking guys out on foot. That's how valuable these vehicles are. So you have no idea like the value, right? When we buy them drones, like their Mavics, those Mavics fly that night, right? They are not like in the storage. Oh, nice. Somebody else donated. Sick. From Scotland. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Scots go hard, dude. The Scots are hard people. Right? All right. James Kelly, what is your opinion about the USA pressing Ukraine to hold election if they get a basic ceasefire? I am not entirely sure. I'm always So here's what bothers me. One is that Putin has this pretext that says that the regime in Kiev has to fall and is illegitimate. And the U.S. may be saying, "Hey, listen, we want to give you, we will give you the Putin." Okay, so here's the thing. That's obviously a pretext. Putin doesn't actually think that. He wants to expand Russian influence. He wants to control the industrial regions of Ukraine and possibly all of Ukraine and turn it into a puppet state like Belarus. This isn't about the government in Kiev, right? But Putin has spent so much time over the last 3 years telling the Russian public that there's an evil regime in Kiev that if there aren't, that he can't just have it persist. He can't sit there and have the same government. Right? It'll be too politically humiliating. So Keith Kellogg may be like, listen, let's give Putin a pretext and we'll hold elections. There'll be some turnover of people. The problem is, of course, that the U.S. doesn't get to say when Ukraine holds elections. Controversial take, the United States should not interfere in the domestic politics of almost any country, barring something truly egregious. They're saying, well, if you get a ceasefire, you should hold elections. The problem is that Russia is really good at interfering with elections. They tried to do it in Moldova. They did it in Romania, Russian-backed candidates with a lot of Russian money, actually Russian bot farms pushing propaganda on Telegram, supporting these pro-Russian candidates. So it's scary to hold an election in Eastern Europe because you know that Russia is going to interfere at sometimes a comically large scale, right? In Moldova, famously, they spent something like $250,000 like per voter in the contested regions where Russian influence was zeroed in on. So Ukraine is understandably nervous because what they wouldn't want to do is have massive Russian influence into their elections, massive Russian propaganda, total vote fraud, and have a pro-Russian candidate win. That would be bad. But I understand why Keith Kellogg is trying to do that. But this should not be something that is publicly discussed. This election, if ceasefire, that should be something that's on the negotiating table, right? That is privately seen as a way out, right? This is the kind of thing that when you have a general doing a diplomat's work. And the U.S., unfortunately, I think 20 years of the GWAT has really rotted the State Department. I don't know what else to tell you, right? We need to have really capable diplomats, and in the U.S. we don't. We have a very powerful military who I'm not even sure is all that capable, but what we don't have is a comparably strong core of diplomats who can understand messaging, saving face, excuses. Like, it's sophisticated stuff, and it's something that we have a State Department for, but we've really let that atrophy. All right, let's see. Patricia, thank you. Glad you're home safe. Yep, me too. Salva, would love to see it matched. The donations, let's see. Unfortunately, we don't have a matching. I don't see any new donations, but that's okay. We don't have any matching yet. We did on a previous fundraiser. There was an anonymous donor who agreed to match up to, I think, 10 or 20,000. But again, I'm trying to focus on our fundraiser. And believe me, I definitely don't make enough money to match your donations, right? But I personally contribute to every fundraiser. So actually, now that you mention it, I haven't actually donated to this one, but I will. It is Groundhog's Day here in the US of A. Thank you. For those of you that don't know, this is a sort of hokey American tradition. There's a town in Pennsylvania where there's a groundhog that comes out of a burrow, and the rule is that if it's a sunny day and he can see his shadow, it means that the winter's going to be short. But if he doesn't see his shadow, if it's overcast or rainy, then it means winter's going to persist for another 6 weeks, right? In Pennsylvania, right, this is right around the time where where the weather's kind of variable, right? Where I am, listen, it's warm as hell, right? It's it was like shorts and a t-shirt weather today. So, you know, I think But you know, there's also a famous movie in the U.S. where a reporter gets trapped in an eternally matching Groundhog's Day repeats again and again. So in fact, it's so popular that people will often use it's like Groundhog Day or Groundhog's Day as a shorthand for a day that repeats itself again and again and again, like a monotonous job where nothing ever changes. Yeah, Punxsutawney Phil, baby. Oh, also, thanks to whoever donated. I think that was you, Patricia, but somebody else did too. So thank you guys for taking another drink. Cheers. Cheers to the boys of Ite. How can we donate to Ukraine directly? STA 101. Guys, this UAO, like I'm telling you, so I would never, I trusted UAO, but I also worked as an auditor, and part of my motivation with going was to actually be like, hey, like, let me just make sure, right? There's a lot of shady stuff in a country like any Eastern European country. Let me make sure these guys are the real deal. They 100% are. They have personal relationships with these units. The units are in direct contact with me, right? So, I know that nothing sketch is going on. These funds go directly to those units, right? And they post it. If you follow the UAO YouTube page or on Instagram, you can literally see it. They'll post the videos, and there's a bunch of videos on there now of units being like, thank you, Combat Veteran Reacts viewers. So that's pretty badass. Okay, Damian Trog, thanks for helping Ukraine. I am Belgian with a new family in Ternopil that I lived with for 2 years. You think they will get like a Marshall Plan from the West? I hope so. My hope is actually less of a Marshall Plan and more of a free trade like EU, but not not in name only, like an EU without calling it that. So a large scale free trade situation. Because man, if there's one thing this has shown me, it's that in Ukraine, you can often get like look at how like Stalker, right? There's an example, an iconic game made to a top tier quality. But because it's made in Ukraine, the cost to develop the game was really low. So I think that kind of potential of like skilled workers, IT, software work in Ukraine, I think after this war ends, it's going to be a hub for that kind of stuff, especially because so much of this conflict is information systems focused. I think you're going to end up with the Ukrainian government who incubated and created all of these advanced robotic startups, all of these advanced IT startups, that when all these guys are off of the war footing, they're going to have technical expertise and organizations that are poised to leapfrog into the future. Sort of like the way that the U.S., right? We built the nuclear bomb in World War II because of a huge scientific push. But we also were able to lead the world in building things like nuclear power plants and, even some of our rocket technology. Yes, everybody's like, oh, the fucking Nazi scientists. Yeah, I know, dude. But listen, six German rocket scientists did not make the entire space program, okay? They did not put a man on the moon, right? It was the huge technical expertise and investments the U.S. made in the scientific community during the Second World War that when they had to pivot to a civilian use, it made us absolutely top tier. Okay. All that to say, yeah, I'm optimistic that the future of the Ukrainian economy actually would be pretty bright, given its deep if it wins. They have to win. Punk Rock, thank you, man. I've been interested in watching combat news for a while. I wonder if you'd be interested in analyzing combat footage from the Mexican army or anti-narco militia clips. Yes, and I have deliberately, because the Ukraine clips are so current and they're an ongoing conflict, I've focused on them and deliberately not done kind of other conflicts. But in the future, when the Ukraine conflict has died down, or there's a ceasefire in place or a peace deal, I'm going to be pivoting my focus a lot onto that stuff. Okay, what are your thoughts on USAID being axed by Musk? Okay, so this is one of the things that really bothers me, is that the Supreme Court has been clear and was clear in one of their most recent decisions that Congress, according to the Constitution, has the power of the purse. They allocate funding, and if Congress sits there and goes, we are allocating funds to USAID to support X and Y and A and B and C. Guess what? Elon Musk or anyone, the president, doesn't have the authority to tell Congress no, because they said, the elected body of the United States of America, right, our bicameral legislature says you are going to provide X million dollars for X program. And so Elon fucking Musk doesn't have the right to tell Congress what U.S. tax dollars should be spent on, right? And the fact that he doesn't know this, the fact that he's running around government trying to pretend cosplay like he has the right to fire federal employees, you don't. He doesn't. He doesn't have the right to cut spending. The most he can do is make recommendations to Congress. And if he was smart, and I suspect that he was told this, my theory is by Vivek Ramaswamy, who's just smarter. He just is smarter, right? And he was probably told this by Vivek, and he didn't listen. Was like, listen, you can't control federal spending because the executive branch doesn't control federal spending in the U.S. constitutional system. This is something that Elon would know if he was born and raised here. And so the fact that he doesn't know this basic fact, and the fact that he's running around the executive branch cosplaying like he can fire people, cosplaying like he can shut down an agency, offering people super fucking illegal buyouts. Guys, it is not legal to work 2 jobs. So when Elon Musk, if you're a federal employee and you're like, Elon says I can work 2 jobs, guys, you don't work for Elon Musk. Elon Musk is not the law. You work for the Constitution of the United States. And that says that the laws that Congress passes tell you where you can and cannot work, not fucking Elon Musk. So it is illegal for a federal employee to work a job without express authorization from their agency head. So I encourage you to follow the law and not follow fucking some South African prick who is famous for his ability to absolutely ruin an already dogshit social media platform. The executive branch can fire presidentially appointed political appointees. Some of them, I should note, some of them cannot be fired by the president, right? Again, for example, the inspectors general. The inspectors general cannot be fired by the president without a express series of events that amount to effectively approval by Congress. And the fact that 17 of them were fired is insane for 2 reasons. The first is you have to follow the fucking law, right? But 2, inspectors general are the auditors. So if your goal is to save money and to know where there's government waste, that is what inspector generals do. Inspectors general do nothing. They, in fact, pay for themselves several times over because they're all auditors. I know. That's where I worked. DHS is inspector general, right? So if you had a brain, just like this is what consultants do. This is what every Deloitte, Bain, BCG, this is what they do. They go into an organization, they find the people whose job it is to figure out what's wrong with the organization, and they do something that no one inside the organization is willing to do, which is listen to them, right? And then they sit there and repackage that into a report, and they have 22-year-olds who went to Harvard say it, and all of a sudden the leadership goes, well, if a fucking 22-year-old who went to Yale says that I need to fucking shit can my time wasters division, I'm going to do it. You know, and meanwhile, their internal auditors are like, yeah, dude, we've been telling you the time-wasting division is, in fact, a waste of time and money. So the fact that even basic, like fundamental, this isn't like running government. This is just like running an organization is like lost on him is just astounding to me. It's not astounding, right? It's not astounding because we showed who he was on when he played his fucking Path of Exile. He's shown it a bunch of times, but it just so happens that if you ever played Path of Exile or Diablo, like, it's so obvious that he's lying, right? And if he lies about the most meaningless shit, then, like, he's definitely gonna lie through his teeth about everything else. By and large, I've heard that federal employees have, in fact, been ignoring Elon Musk. Again, what I'm really curious about is the civil servants union suing him. And what sort of shocks me is not that the Trump administration is trying like some fuckery, right? And again, I'm not some like mega turbo anti-Trump asshole. As I said, when he took office, I was like, listen, I want America to do well. I'm a pro-American guy, right? So, and I had plenty of criticisms for the Biden White House. Like, you guys are fans of this channel. You know that I put that dude on fucking blast and his horrible policies. Oh, by the way, 119,865. Cheers to you guys. Biden was characterized as too little, too late. Political control costs lives. John Wiley, shout out to you for saying the same thing that I'm saying before I said it. Exactly. All right. But, you know, yeah. Again, I'm rooting for Trump to do well, to govern the country well, to confront America's enemies, and you know, really be the leader of America's allies and defend Western values in the face of a rising autocracy. And I don't see that happening. I see him picking pointless fights. I see him like Panama. Like, dude, you can't tell me that he saw Putin invade Ukraine and he thought to himself, you know, I should invade my own weak neighbor. I should annex my own weak neighbor. But that seemed to be the thinking. Anyway, Ken McLean, do you ever work with Canadian troops in Afghanistan? No, I haven't, actually. I never did. Oh, Laughing Ian asks, what am I drinking? Oh, boy. I am drinking this. This is a custom whiskey made by the Atay team. The recon guys that I talked to, right? They were bad dudes. And before I left, they literally gave me 2 bottles of their custom whiskey. And one of them I was actually going to auction off, and we're going to like pledge the proceeds right to the fundraiser. But legally, there's absolutely no fucking way I can sell, which is officially what I'd be doing, like sell or distribute liquor without a liquor license. So I'm trying to find a way to convert these guys' like badass gift into some funds to help them out, right? Because obviously those guys are not drinking. These guys are like top elite tier, like a Vietnam long range reconnaissance unit. And so what we're doing is every time you donate, I am drinking. So short term goal, 20 grand. And of course, long term goal, I'd love to get the stream, get us up to 150. And get me sandblasted, dude. I don't have to function tomorrow. I mean, I do, but the funny thing is you might see me in the video and you'll know how successful the stream was based on how rough I look in that video. But what I'll also say is, you donate $200, right? You get patches from the Rubizet Brigade, the Presidential Brigade. These are some cool, dude, plus a bunch of surprise patches. And it's tax deductible. That's the thing. They're U.S. registered 501c3. So, you know, get your good stuff, man. Get your good stuff. Dude, we looked at getting a liquor store to ship it to another liquor store. You know, we looked at like a liquor, like having like a fancy wine auction, but I realized that I don't think we would get enough bids for it to be worthwhile. So, yeah, it's just too, like, the logistics, I just can't make them work in a way that's feasible, right? No, because remember, a bar with a liquor license, they can't ship it across state lines. That's a different legal parameter, right? And that's sort of the issue. So it's not about like, can I serve it to someone in my state? It's about, can I get it to someone in the country, right? And it's one thing, like wine and beer is possible. It's on the rocks. It's on the rocks, guys. Wine and beer, like difficult but possible. Liquor, good fucking luck. So yeah, you can literally see the rocks. So anyway, that's okay. We are converting it into cash for the boys, right? Dude, I'd love to be able to raise 20 G's from this, which I think we can do, man. Okay, Hello Chill says, do you think you'd take Ronda Rousey in the octagon if you fought today? A fun fact, guys. I haven't gotten the pictures back yet, but I actually got my jiu-jitsu black belt yesterday. From, actually, if you guys are jiu-jitsu nerds, from Rodrigo Cabral, the head instructor of also the Tackett brothers. Like literally, like Andrew was there, William was out. Really cool, awesome. It's gonna drop onto the gram. Could I take Ronda Rousey in a fight? I'm gonna say maybe. She seems like she hasn't been training that much, you know. So I'm gonna say maybe I could get lucky. And her striking is notoriously bad, but also like I'm also a bad striker, but she hasn't trained that much. So yeah, I'm completing the vet bro trifecta. You know, I gotta have my YouTube plaque, I gotta have my combat action badge and the jiu-jitsu black belt, and I'll have done all the vet things. Oh, but I need to be a gun YouTuber. I need to have like a big fucking gun collection, right? You want you to fight Pete Hegseth, dude? I'll fight Pete Hegseth. I'll fight Elon, dude. I will absolutely fight Elon, right? He was gonna fight Mark Zuckerberg, and then he wimped out. Ooh, tumblers with the logo would be cool. I am not that heavy right now. I'm like 183, which is actually probably not too far off from what she weighs. Yeah, gun YouTubers can't get monetized, which drives me kind of bananas because it's not a crime. Like I understand that advertisers and a lot of people like wish it was a crime to own a gun in the United States, but like it's not. And these people are not doing anything wrong or illegal unless they're doing something inappropriate with the weapon, like discharging it where they shouldn't be. But if they're on a range or secured location, like, I'm sorry, they're not doing anything wrong. Well, no, you see, the cherry on top, right? A gun collection. The cherry on top is a biography in which you make up a bunch of shit that didn't really happen, right? So, like, you know, if I'll be a peak vet influencer if I make a biography where I'm like, I went to Ukraine, I single-handedly machine gunned down a bunch of Russians, and they said, wow, so cool, wow, he's so cool. Yeah, didn't happen. I did get to go to a range and shoot some of their steel plates. That was cool, right? I've heard Demolition Ranch is packing it up, which is a bummer, but you know, good for him, dude. I think he made all the money he needs. I think we got another donation, by the way. 886. Is that a? Do we get somebody? Yeah, Kim. Shout out Kim. Hell yeah. Cheers to you, Kim. Yeah, I gotta be like bag of grenades and be like, I totally got a Purple Heart in Ukraine. Totally. Sure, I wasn't on active duty or in uniform or in a U.S. conflict, but it was definitely a Purple Heart, bros. 100% happened. Do I have a recommendation for an organization to help stray dogs in Ukraine? I don't. I actually never saw a stray dog while I was there. Ooh, some Laughing Ian says the Baba Yaga got a fiber optic upgrade. Hell yeah, badass. I'm not gonna become the next Demo Ranch, dudes. Listen. I don't have his energy. Okay. Yeah, the pop's gonna be like, yeah, I threw a rocket at a drone and downed it. I've seen a video of a Russian doing that. Yeah. Okay. Here, I'll show you guys. I'll show you guys the bottle. I'll try to get it up close. Yeah. So you can see. I mean, I can't. I haven't looked. I haven't run this through Google Translate or anything, but you can see the symbol of the team right there, the Ate team symbol of the Free Ukraine, and then it has on here. I can't quite see, but nope. Don't focus on my hand. Focus on the bottle. You can see that it says it's made in Glasgow, I think, or bottled there. I'm not sure. Yeah, it's okay. Only donate money if you have it, right? Only if you. Here's what I think: if you guys were gonna like go to a bar or like or whatever, and you're instead staying home, you know, take the money you would have spent on drinks and you know, send it to the guys in Ukraine. They'll appreciate it. But that's the only money I want from you guys, right? I don't want your rent money. Don't donate your food money. Like Glasgow. Okay, not Glasgow. David Helsa, thank you. Appreciate it. How do we finance the drones that hit the oil? I don't know. Those are made by the Ukrainian intelligence. They're their own animal. They're funded their own way. And I am very explicitly like, I want to help these brigades. I want to help the guys that do this every day. I don't partner with the U.S. government. I don't partner with the Russian government, and I don't partner with the Central Ukrainian government. I want to be able to put anybody who's doing the wrong thing. I want to be able to put them all on blast. So I do that by going direct to the units at the unit level. That's why I like UAO. Small organization, personal relationship, direct to units. He wants us to help fund a dumb war. Yeah, no shit. Putin, listen, dude. If Putin invaded his neighbor for no fucking reason, and the sooner he realizes he's not going to win, the sooner he'll go home. Yeah, let's see. Can I speak Ukrainian and Russian? No, I cannot. Not a word. I had Google Translate when they weren't running the jammers. No, toilet situation. No, they had plumbing. Dude, in Kramatorsk, I had internet, hot water, plumbing. We had hot water almost all the time. Hot water, plumbing, electricity. You could go to the brew pub and get a beer or pizza or dumplings. It was good, dude. Things were chill. Even in some of those unit houses, they had backup generators, but they were still connected to the grid, and they were like 10 clicks from Russian positions. Yeah, Putin already wins. Yeah, bro. Yeah, bro. Has he even taken Pokrovsk? Right? It's been 5 months of Putin being like, Pokrovsk is gonna fall, dudes. Okay, man. No more Mickey D's though. Nope. I went to McDonald's in Kiev. Went to Mickey D's in Kiev twice. Twice. It was good. Is United 24 effective for donations? I'm not sure. I can't speak one way or the other. It's true. Donate to get your questions answered. Let's see. Do we got more? Ooh, we're so close, guys. 917. We're so close to the big 20. An anonymous donor. Okay. Here's the deal. I'm out of stuff to drink. I'm going to finish this, and then I got to plus up my rocks here. How come Ukrainian soldiers don't drink at all? No. Don't get it confused. It's not the Ukrainian soldiers don't drink. It's that they're not allowed to drink within a certain distance of the front line for good order and discipline reasons. And I'm not going to say, officially, I did not see any Ukrainian soldier drink. Officially. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Dudes, we're so close. We're so close to the big 2-0. Okay, I'm gonna plus up my rocks so that you guys, so that when we refresh, we're gonna get that 20K and I'll drink to it. Okay. All right. So don't go nowhere. I'll be back. Okay. Mr. Badges, gin and tonic at home, $10 for you. Hell yeah. G&T at home, baby. Strike gum to the boys. Dude, okay, one, your donations? No. Strike gum is something that Strike Gum Company gives to these guys for free. They ask for it, we send it to them. You know, our only ask is if they get the chance, you know, to just snap a pic of Strike Gum in the front lines, because I want to see it in action, dude. Right? I want to put that shit on the gram. Okay, let's see. Let's see where we're at. 1997. Hit the refresh, baby. Oh, still at 19197. Sam, thanks for the 2. Okay. Thanks for coming on, guys. I don't know how many new guys are here, but yeah, I'm out of breath because I literally ran down the stairs, refilled my bottle, ran back up because I didn't want to, you know, you guys aren't here to watch my empty office. Okay. People are like, what's he drinking? We've talked about this. This is the whiskey given to me by the ATE, the elite recon team of the Ukrainian National Guard, sort of like their the Vietnam era long-range reconnaissance guys. They had this whiskey custom made. You can see the logo of the team, as well as all the stuff in Cyrillic. They gave it to me. They gave one bottle to me and one to donate. But the problem is in the U.S., shipping liquor to another state is impossible without like multiple liquor licenses, and I just can't find a distributor or an auction house. It's just too logistically difficult. So I'm like, how can I convert what they've given me into some funds for them? So the answer is, when you donate, I drink, right? And this way I'm at least converting their gift into some funds that are going to help them. Dude, it's badass. It's a badass whiskey. I don't know what else to tell you. Oh, we're still not there. I still got to hold out. Exactly. I'm out here doing cardio. Cut me a break. Is whiskey gum next? Ah, no. Does my gum come in watermelon? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. It would taste so gross in watermelon. This isn't a commercial product. It's only 2 bottles. That's all I have, right? Like, that's it. So, also, thank you, Miranda Clemson. I don't know if I said that. All right, so what questions do you guys have about my time in Ukraine, etc.? Oh, wait, we did it. We did it. 120, baby. Cheers. Cheers. We did it. Okay, who gets credit? No, anonymous. Dude, you guys are truly the selfless heroes, all right? European whiskey would be more like Scotch. I think this literally is from Scotland. No, I didn't eat any Kiev cakes in Ukraine. I don't know if that's like a euphemism for something, but I didn't. I ate like absolute shit. And Chris Cappy kind of actually talked about it. He had the same experience where he was eating like Ukrainian gas station stuff, which is still kind of cool. Like, I got like Ukrainian gas station smoked pork that was actually unironically pretty badass. Mike T, thank you. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Dude, I'm so happy we got over 120K. Makes me feel better about getting this whiskey, right? Cracking this out. Dude, I'd love to get the dudes on the front line doing the Mentos commercials. Okay, can I tell the story about being chased by the drone? Actually, the story in the video was basically what happened. Yeah, because we had gotten told by the Liut Brigade. They were like, hey, we want to take you guys to see the Battle of Touretsk. But as soon as you get in from the train, you got to hop in the car and we got to go. Because they try to like do their infill between as day turns into night, like in dusk. So like there's a small window. So we get to the train station, we instantly get picked up in his pickup truck, and we're going off with this captain. It's me and Poff, and then one woman from UAO. And he's driving us. We go through 2 military checkpoints. He pulls over to like an old abandoned park. He's like, hey, okay, you see out there? There's Touretsk. You see out there? There's Avdiivka. And I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. I get to see the the front lines. And he's like, all right, put on your armor. Let's get going. And so I'm like, oh, okay. So we put on our body armor and our helmets, and we keep going. And we're driving like deeper and deeper in. The towns get more and more destroyed as we go. And yeah, then he's like, okay, cell phones off, cell phones on airplane mode. Like, I'm gonna turn the jammers on because there's drones. And I was like, okay, we're really close now. And then he's like, okay, roll down the windows because we want to be able to hear the FPV drones. We want to hear the whine of them. I'm like, okay, we're that close. And eventually he like pulls over to kind of like a building on like the side of a road. And we hear the artillery working, right? He's like, I can't take you to the positions because it'll expose them, right? We don't want, if there's a recon drone, we don't want him to see us going to artillery, but we can hear them in front of us. Then eventually we can hear them at level with us. And then we keep going. We can hear them behind us. And I'm like, oh shit, we're like really getting in there. And then we pull over to this like dilapidated, destroyed house that's kind of under some trees. And he gets out. He shows us like where they've actually nailed a bunch of soldiers' cell phones to a tree to be like, put your phone on airplane mode. I was like, oh, it's on airplane mode. And we saw some other stuff like the fab bomb crater and stuff. And then as we're getting back into the truck, I hear this like, zzz, and I ask him, I'm like, hey man, well, like, what's that? Because it could be Ukrainian FPVs. But he's like, he instantly just yells FPV and he fucking takes off. And so I instantly take off in a different direction because, I've seen enough of these videos and I know enough about military stuff to be like, listen, if someone's going to attack you, don't bunch up. Don't be a juicy target. So I run into this like old dilapidated house and I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to get to like an interior room. So that way, if the RPG hits a wall, there's going to be an air gap, right, between me and the warhead going off, right? So I get in there in this like interior bathroom, or it used to be a bathroom, and then Puff and the UAO woman like follow me, and we just are kind of listening. We can kind of hear the FPV drone, and we're listening and then after like 30 seconds, we hear the captain from the Ute like running and saying something in Ukrainian, and I'm like, yeah, okay, I know where you're going. So we pile into the truck and he fucking hauls out of there. And yeah, you can hear he has a drone detector and it's detecting the signal of the drone and it's just going beep, 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 telling you that there's a drone in your area, right? So it was like pretty scary because you just have to like sit there. You're stuck on the road. There's mines right off the road. So you're just driving and you hear this drone beep, beep, beep. And then eventually the interval starts to get longer. And then eventually he goes, okay, we're out of drone range. We're more than the rule is like 10 kilometers from Russian positions. Yeah. It was like pretty intense. I know it was actually intense. It wasn't me just being a wimp, because the captain was also like, that was a rush, dude. That was a fucking rush. I was like, okay, you also thought we were going to get smoked. Yeah. So, yeah, that was crazy. That was the story. I know. Well, you know who else did went harder than me was Chris Cappy. He was there at the same time I was. From Task and Purpose. Dude, he was fucking out there. He was in Kursk. He's banned from Russia for life. Oh, damn. 127. I like it, dudes. Awesome. Cheers to you guys. Do I think Ukraine gets full territory back? No, I don't think so. I don't. And I don't think anyone else really thinks that either. Crimea, it's going to be hard, man. It's been 10 years. It's not even clear that like, it's not clear how governing Crimea would work at this point because it's been so Russified, right? No, I didn't. The only place I saw dead Russians was when we visited drone headquarters. They would show the broadcast of their reconnaissance drones, and the reconnaissance drones are constantly flying over like the frontline positions. So you would see Ukrainians infiltrating into positions. You'd see Russians. You'd see dead Russians. You'd see all of it. That was cool. Honestly, seeing the drones, seeing the drone unit headquarters was also so cool. All right, guys. So I've got that it's about 9 p.m. I'm going to call it there, at least 9 p.m. my time. We'll do one last check, see where we're at. 120. Well, we broke the 120 barrier. I'm super into it, guys. Thank you guys so much. This has been such a tremendous fundraiser. I think we'll keep it up for another maybe 24 hours, just so people that were in the live stream or that came to the live stream late have a chance to donate. But I appreciate you guys so much. I mean, you have no idea how much this means to the units. It is absolutely tremendous. It means the world to me that you guys are willing to like support me on this project, right? At the end of the day, I'm one guy, right? When I had my first conversation with the UAO, I was like, dude, like I'm limited in what I can do, right? As an individual. But I'm like, I have an audience. Maybe they'll help out a little bit. But we had no idea that you guys would show up for these soldiers, and these soldiers had no idea, right? Like, because here's the thing to understand, is that some units are really good at fundraising. They have these dedicated social media teams. They are always putting out what they're doing. They are well funded, and it becomes really tough because well-funded units produce a ton of content. They get the best gear. And then that means they get the best recruits because, right, if you're a high-quality, physically fit, motivated recruit, where are you going to go? You're going to go to the unit with the best gear. But what that means is that other units who are kicking ass, they don't get their stories told. They don't get the funds they need. They don't get the extra gear, the newer drones, the better vehicles. And so they, despite being just as good as any of these units that have like big social media brand presence, they just struggle, right? And so that's where I was like, dudes, this is where I can help them out, tell their story, meet up with them, learn about who they are, and just put them out there to you guys. But ultimately, it's you guys that showed up for them, and you have no idea what a difference this makes for these guys. It is so tremendous. So follow UAO on YouTube and on Instagram because they always post their donations. They always have the units do like the thanks videos, and it just lets you know in a totally concrete way what your guys are up to, what your donations in dollars are doing, or euros, or whatever it is. So thank you guys. I appreciate you so much. Again, gonna keep the link up. Please donate, and I will see you guys tomorrow at another video. Thanks.